And here with me now is President Trump's former Vice President, Mike Pence, the founder of Advancing American Freedom. Sir, thank you so much for being here. I just first want you to react to what you just heard.
Thank you, Dana.
From our Nick Robertson in Tel Aviv.
Well, I think what we're witnessing is that on Friday morning, the state of Israel sent a deafening message of resolve over the skies of Tehran that Iran will never be allowed to possess a nuclear weapon. And witnessing in the skies just moments ago, you can see the reason why. During our administration, we made that clear. I'm grateful for President Trump's strong statements of support for Israel and its action. But, you know, I want to say emphatically that if the world knows nothing else, the world should know this. America stands with Israel. And while Israel acted alone on Friday, Israel is not alone. And I am confident that Israel has the ability by itself to defend itself. But I know that the American people will continue to stand with Israel, and our resources in the region will continue to stand ready, like those THAAD missile systems, like the Iron Dome that we help provide to Israel, to make sure that the people of Israel are protected every much as bit as that they can be during this time of conflict.
And you alluded to this, but President Trump said again last night the U.S. had nothing to do with Israel's attack against Iran. He also said that he spoke with Russia's President, Vladimir Putin, that the two are agreeing that the conflict between Israel and Iran should end. Is that the right track, or should the U.S. be providing Israel with more weapons, the weapons that it needs to completely eradicate all of Iran's nuclear facilities and capabilities?
Well, as Vladimir Putin continues his brutal and unprovoked invasion in Ukraine using drones provided by Iran, I would say respectfully to the administration, we ought to be looking elsewhere than Vladimir Putin for advice on how to deal with this situation. We need to continue to provide Israel with the support they need. I also will say, though, I do welcome the fact that early this morning the president reiterated a statement that harkened back to 2019 in our administration. After we took out Qasem Soleimani, the president and our team made it very clear that there would be overwhelming response by the United States military if American lives were lost in any retaliation by the Iranian military. They fired rockets, as you remember, Dana. They landed at Al-Assad. They landed in the Kurdish region. There were injuries, but there were no American casualties or loss of life, and the Iranians stood down after that. But it was in that moment that the president made clear, as he did this morning, that there would be overwhelming force brought to bear on Iran if they put at risk American forces in the region, which, as you know, are in the tens of thousands.
Separate from the U.S. forces and the very real warning that President Trump has issued to Iran about the U.S., should the U.S. help Israel finish it off when it comes to Iran's nuclear capabilities?
Well, I think we need to make sure that Israel has the resources and the support they need, whatever shape that might take, to once and for all eliminate and destroy the nuclear enrichment program within Iran. It was early in this administration. Some of us had concerns. I expressed them that the president's envoy and negotiators were talking about some limited enrichment program. I have held the view that others have that there can be no nuclear enrichment program whatsoever. It needs to be dismantled or destroyed. Now, if the Iranians want to stand down, I think the president's made it clear he's willing to enter into negotiations, but there can be no nuclear program of any kind, no enrichment program of any kind. And at the end of the day, if Israel needs our help to ensure that the Iranian nuclear program is destroyed once and for all, the United States of America needs to be prepared to do it, because this is about protecting our most cherished ally. But remember, those missiles that Iran has developed over the years can reach Europe today. They've been working on intercontinental ballistic missiles that could reach the United States. And Iran is the leading state sponsor of terrorism, Dana. And we simply cannot allow Iran to ever obtain a nuclear weapon. It threatens Israel. It threatens our allies, threatens people of the United States. And we need to stand on that principle.
Vice President Pence, some of President Trump's biggest allies in the MAGA movement, they don't think that the U.S. should get involved at all in this conflict. Charlie Kirk warned it could, quote, cause a massive schism in MAGA. Tucker Carlson said direct U.S. involvement would be a middle finger in the faces of millions of voters. What do you think about that argument?
Well, I have a lot of familiarity with those millions of voters. And I think the American people that are part of our movement, part of the Republican coalition today, understand that America is the leader of the free world. And if America is not leading the free world's not being led. It's one of the reasons I've so strongly supported U.S. support for Ukraine in the wake of that brutal invasion by Russia. But I also had a sense that the isolationist voices in the Republican Party, whether it be trying to suggest that we should cut off any support for Ukraine's fight for their freedom and sovereignty, some people also questioning our commitments in the Asia-Pacific. But I've always said that I really do believe that strain of isolationism, all roads lead to Israel.
Mm-hmm. Is that what you're seeing now?
When you hear leading voices on the outside talking about dumping Israel in this moment, it's scandalous. Look, since we just we're coming up on 250 years of our nation's history, before this nation was founded, the pulpits of those colonies thundered with the aspiration that the people of Israel would someday return to the land of Israel. 1948, we were the first nation on earth to recognize the Jewish state of Israel. I like to say Israel is our most cherished ally. And at the end of the day, I believe that is in the hearts and minds of the overwhelming majority, not just people in our movement, but the overwhelming majority of the American people know and cherish and will always stand with Israel.
Let's turn to some issues here in the United States. You said that President Trump was right to send in the National Guard to respond to protests in Los Angeles. But he's also deployed 700 active duty Marines to L.A. Do you have concerns about that?
Well, I do support the president's decision to deploy the National Guard to Los Angeles, because as you could see in the days that followed, it wasn't just Los Angeles. Riots began to emerge in other cities, but I think a strong show of force, securing peace in the streets of L.A., sent a very important message all across the country. With regard to activating the Marines, I have read that. I mean, obviously, we have a policy of posse comitatus. Mm-hmm. We don't use our military against our civilians. But military personnel are able to secure federal assets, federal buildings. And I am confident that the administration going forward will make sure, and frankly, the United States Marine Corps will make sure that any deployment here domestically is consistent with that great tradition.
I mean, your son, Michael, is a Marine aviator. You would be okay if he were deployed to a Democratic-led U.S. city to respond to protests?
Well, as I said, I visited a lot of embassies around the world, so have you, Dana, and Marines are deployed to protect American embassies all around the world. We do site protection. The Marines do a brilliant job at that. Thanks for mentioning my son. We're awful proud of his service, as well as my son-in-law who's in the U.S. Navy. Look, I just have a lot of confidence in our military, a lot of confidence in our armed forces, and I'm sure the administration will respect that great tradition that we use our military for proper forces to defend our interests, to defend our nation.
We're out of time, but I do want to quickly ask you about something the FBI Director Kash Patel warned to LA protesters, rather. He said, hit a cop, you're going to jail. Doesn't matter where you came from. This is from a director who supported the president pardoning all the rioters, including the ones who beat up police officers who were defending the Capitol, defending you on January 6th. What did you make of that?
Mm-hmm. Well, let me say first off, I welcome the statement. It's a correct statement. We simply cannot allow or stand by while people in the midst of protests assault law enforcement officers. It's one of the reasons I thought the president was wrong to pardon people who assaulted police officers on January 6th. But look, this is a time when we're in the wake of not only those events of 4 years ago, but we've seen political violence against Jewish peaceful protesters. We saw 2 assassination attempts against President Trump on the campaign trail. We saw the governor of Pennsylvania's home attacked, and then that despicable attack that claimed the lives of the Minnesota state representative Hortman, her husband, and injured 2 of her colleagues. Our prayers are with them, but this is a moment when we need to make it very clear that anyone who would ever use violence, whether it be against law enforcement or political violence of any kind, must be condemned universally, and people need to be held to the strictest account of the law.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming on, and I hope you have a happy Father's Day.
Thank you, Dana.